Hello everyone, happy Pollinators Week. I am about to open up my beehive today to see if the bees have filled in these boxes and whether or not I need to remove some honey frames to give them more space so they don't swarm. So this is the top honey super, and if you see how I open it up here and we take a look, you can see the bees are starting to build out this comb on here. And if I could spin this around successfully without squishing any. On this side here, you can see how they're placing that shiny stuff that you see glowing in the sunlight. That is honey that they're placing inside of these honey frames. That's what we want them to do. That's perfect. Okay, so they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So we have one of these frames on each side that they're filling. They're building up frames. Here's the second one up here. You can see again, there they are. They're busy putting honey inside of there. That's exactly what we want them to do. So that's a great thing. That's exactly what we want those bees to be doing, is building up these frames and storing honey. Okay, now we're going to have to take this one off and see what's going on in the in this honey super, which is the one below it. This is our lower honey super, and you can see the bees are doing the same thing here. You can see how this stuff shines a lot more in the sunlight. So this is some very fresh honey that they're placing inside of these honeycombs. Okay, let's see if I can rotate this around. And here you go, you can see the bees also on this side putting all kinds of honey inside these frames. They got a lot of honeycomb to build up on here yet, and this takes them a while, which also is good because it enables the bees to slow down just a little bit inside that hive and not overrun it. Here you go, here's a frame that has a lot more honey on it, and you can see some of that is capped. You see that white substance on there? That means the honeycomb is full and the bees have capped the honey in there. So they won't be adding any more to those cells. We want this entire frame filled like that with the honey inside and it capped. That would be an indication that we're ready to harvest that honey. But for right now, that's not happening in here. And you can see how all of the cells on this one are capped. So this whole chunk of honey right now, if we wanted to, we could harvest this and take it with us, but we're gonna let them keep working on this for a while. Okay, we want to get down to the brood box that's below here, so we're gonna get below this box and see if those frames are full of honey, because we want to make sure the queen has enough space to lay eggs down in there. This metal mesh frame that you see on top of here is to keep the queen from going up into the honey super. We don't want her to go in there. We want to keep that free from the queen, free from eggs, of her laying eggs in there, because when it's time to harvest the honey, we want to just be able to take those honey frames out and remove those and harvest from those. But in the meantime, we got to open up this box and see if the frames in here are completely packed and full of honey, because we want to give the queen space to lay eggs, so we might have to take a frame or two out. What you're looking at here is the top brood box, And our concern here is that the frames here to the right and to the left might be completely full of honey, which means all those frames and the honeycomb have filled in where the queen can't lay any more eggs in here, and that's a bad thing. It's called being honey bound. So we want to take a look at these frames, and if they're full of honey, we might have to remove them and replace them with empty frames. There you can see there's quite a few bees on here. It is half capped. In other words, you can see where it's closed in, but there's still a lot of open honey on this side. Let's spin it around to the other side. And here on the other side, you see quite a bit is capped off right now too. So that's a nice big frame of honey we have. Not fully capped, but it's pretty close. So we're kind of taking a look to see whether or not we want to remove it or not from the hive. And now with that removed, we have a little bit better chance of examining the rest of these frames to see how full they are, and that's what we're going to do right now. So here we go. This one is almost also full of honey. There's a little bit of brood possibly mixed in here, but mainly this is another honey frame. So again, that's a little bit of an issue for us. Here we go. This is mainly honey in here. There might be a little bit of brood in here, so we're going to let these bees keep working on it. What does brood look like? Here, I'll show you. This is a frame that shows you all these little black or brown circles. That's baby bees inside of there. That's the brood cells, okay? These are all going to turn into baby bees and be born. All right, so there's still some open spots, but it'd be nice to have a lot more, right? So I'm going to spin this around. And again, you can see there's the brood pattern. This is a pretty healthy beehive. That's how it should look, where the brood is in the center and the honey is around the side. That's the good pattern, okay? So we're going to put this back in. So we'll keep looking inside here at these other frames, but that gives you an example of what it's like to be in a beehive and what's going on. Happy Pollinators Week, everyone.